just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe, bro, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You're more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Wednesday, August 28th. We got a big show for you today. It is game week. It is still game week. It is Wednesday of game week. A lot of preparation are continuing to happen. A lot of conversations are starting to be had about the LSU USC game. Some, I don't want to call it bulletin board material, but there's been comments. There's been things said. Will Campbell, who's a Bulldog and wants to get in a fist fight, has said some stuff, and now it's USC coming back and trying to generate some sort of self-motivation and making it seem like it's bulletin board material, even though it's just one big meathead talking about a fight on the football field, which is a very common thing to talk about, which I love that he's talking about. It kind of reminds me of like a Whitworth-style left tackle who like, hey, I'm going to go out there and all I'm going to do is just fucking eat chips and eat grass and I'm going to fight you, I'm going to bite your ear off or do whatever I need to do to win the game. Right? It's a Bulldog playing left tackle. He makes a comment. USC is trying to give some self-motivation going on there. Some bulletin board material that doesn't really exist. But that's a good sign. That means football, real football, is right around the corner, here to stay for a really long time, which I'm very happy to see. There's football games coming in tomorrow night. We're going to talk some gambling on this beautiful Wednesday night. NFL still a couple weeks away. They are next Thursday, correct? Yeah. Next Thursday is the first game of the NFL season, so you have a full week of signing, cuts, who's gonna get released and who's gonna sign elsewhere. We will kind of keep you updated with some of that
All
stuff.
the cuts happened yesterday.
All the cuts happened yesterday,
Yeah.
right? They're gonna have some different signings that are gonna continue to happen, I guess, over the next couple days. But football is here and it's here to stay. It's Wednesday, so it's Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday. I don't know if we promoted it on Twitter, but if we didn't, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to ask about LSU. about college football, about USC. We're going to answer all the questions that we can get to. Right before the show, we were talking about Dylan Cruz. If you didn't watch, Dylan Cruz got his first 2 hits in the big leagues last night. He's followed that up with his first career home run today. So Dylan Cruz seems like he's getting hot.
Almost had 2.
Getting nice and
base
close.
hit almost
the double was off the wall at about 105 miles an hour. Getting nice and comfy in the big leagues. I think that's why you see these teams now call these products. It's a smart thing to do. If you think they're going to be in the big leagues next year and you're not going to make the playoffs probably this year, why don't you call this guy up, give him some experience so next year he's ready to help you for the entire season. It used to not be that way. It used to be, you had a 40-man roster expansion in September, so they would call these guys up, not really play them. Now the roster expansion isn't 40, it's 30 maybe. It's not that many guys.
A lot shorter
than what it used to be. So guys aren't going to get that opportunity as much. But if you plan on a guy being in the big leagues the next year, why not give him an opportunity to play this year if you don't need a win now? And so they're doing that. Obviously, Dylan Cruz has proven that even if they had to win now, he would help. Rhett Lauder just got called up by the Reds. I think I just saw that on Twitter right before the show started. So you're seeing all these teams start to bring these guys up that are probably going to factor into their team the next year, right? You have 1 month left of the season. They're going to give them as much experience as they possibly can before the season goes. Through the course of the show, we're going to talk a lot about this weekend, a lot about the matchup between LSU and UNC. We're going to highlight some of our matchups that we want to see that I think are going to be keys to the game. Everybody thinks, we have the best offensive line in the country. Their defensive line is a little undersized. We're going to run all over them. I wouldn't be so sure. Deant Len is their defensive coordinator, USC's defensive coordinator. He was UCLA's defensive coordinator the year before. And if you're not familiar with West Coast football, you're not familiar with USC or UCLA or the Pac-12, Deant Len took over at UCLA the year before. They were ranked what?
87th.
87th run defense. What were they ranked?
87th in defense.
87th in defense. What were they ranked the next year when Deant Len got there?
After his first year of coaching the defense as a defense coordinator, they moved up to 11th.
11th. And what about the running game?
What about the running game?
How good was their run defense?
Run defense was stellar.
And they gave up how many touchdowns?
3 touchdowns on the ground all year.
All year. They were the number 1 ranked rushing defense, I think, in the country. Or number 2 ranked rushing defense, I think, in the country.
First in the nation in rushing defense,
There you
giving
go.
up 69 yards a game. Second in the nation in yards per rush, allowing 2 yards per carry, and that was going to happen. And third in the nation in sacks with 3.4, giving up just under 300 yards a game at 299.
Right. So my point in saying this, I'm not saying LSU's not going to be able to run the ball, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult than one may expect.
Say it your Alex Grinch defense.
Right. Now, we're going to get into this conversation as the show goes on because I think there are some advantages that LSU has on the offensive line that I think will end up looking better. Like the numbers will end up looking better at the end of the game than you anticipate. But it's not going to be it's not going to have Leonard Fournette run for 300 yards against UCLA type of game. It's going to be, hey, we're going to grind for everything we got. We're going to have to push. We're going to have to lean on them. We're going to have to do the things that we need to do and gain 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. Maybe pop one for 15 or 20. And just continue to grind that out. And at the end of the game, you may look up and they may rush for 120, 140, 150 yards, but it ain't gonna be these big chunks. So we're gonna get into those matchups. And our boy Will Campbell had a lot of sound bites.
He did.
Or so say. However you want to take it.
We're gonna get into some of the interviews that he had, some of the answers that he had, and I think that I had no problem with the answers. What about you?
Not at all. That's why I said so say, because some people made a big deal about some of the things he said. I think he literally just said, hey, we're going to Vegas not to party, not for a show. It's a dogfight. And I want my offensive linemen thinking that way from day one and kind of setting that kind of tone. So I had no problem with anything that he said, and I fully expect for them to go in there with that kind of mindset and take that mindset to the field for all 60.
And here's what I like too, like he understands the importance of game one, right? A lot of players and a lot of coaches will say, "Oh, we're not worried about that. Last season was last season. We're not focused on that. We're focused on now." Yeah, all that's true, but they know what's going on.
Well, you got to remember too. It's from someone who is in his 3rd year here and has seen a team win 10 games 2 years in a row. he hasn't gotten to where he's wanted to go since he's been here, right? They've won 10 games in a row the last 2 years, but what else have they done that first game of the year? They took 2 L's.
Yep.
So he could easily see it from someone in that position who's had a chance to play in those games, being like, that was my chance for an 11th win. That was my chance to get into the college football playoffs. That was my chance to get to a SEC championship game. I don't want to miss that opportunity by blowing by blowing a game right there again this year. So I think it's pretty cool that someone like him, who is a clear-cut leader on the squad, is setting that tone, setting that mindset, and very obviously he's probably been setting that mindset, that tone all summer and all camp. So that's a good thing for the squad.
And I'm glad that he understands what's going on. I'm glad that he's open about, hey, he talked about in his comments that we have to start come out rolling this season. Which means, hey, we got to come out to a fast start because we've been here. There's no more excuses about, hey, we're going to start off and figure this thing out. No, we understand what we need to do to win the game. And I like guys who are very open like that and understand, like, we understand the reality of the situation. And it doesn't go lost on us and it doesn't go unnoticed. And we have a sense of urgency, and I think that's a good sign. And obviously if he's saying it, the rest of the guys on the team believe in it too, right, which is an important thing. Do we have that clip? Lloyd, that we can play on him talking about getting this thing rolling early on?
Yep. 1 second. I can't put them all in at the same time.
That's fine
because of.
I'm not gonna make you use them all.
No, I got this one right here. That's how we opened up the presser.
What's that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team, but not only the team, the coaching staff, that we haven't done what we've needed to do the first week of the season, not just since I've been here, but even years previous. And, it's not a good way to start the season off. It kind of, sets the tone the wrong way. And we know that we got to come out, start fast, and we can't take, in the previous years, like we have weeks to build up to our potential. We got to come out rolling this year, and everybody in the building knows that.
Right? Because I don't know. For me, just listening to him have these conversations is so matter of fact and like, hey, we understand. We're just going to do it. Like, this is what we need to do. This is what we understand that it needs to be done, and we're just going to go out there and do it. And I think they're poised to do that.
Tell you what, there has been a couple comments thrown around on the Twitter or the X-verse, if you will, from a couple of USC players. If you need to take that conversation as bulletin board material for you, sounds to me like you're not ready for this kind of situation, because that ain't bulletin board material.
No, that's forcing.
That ain't bulletin
something.
board material right there.
And then
that's forcing, and not, I'm talking like literally forcing. Listen, we all know that there's greats that have basically found ways to hate people. That's not one of them. That like this shouldn't be that situation. You need to dig harder and find something a little bit more ridiculous than this, because this ain't really it.
There's been no comments about USC not being able to do something or not being good or being overrated. This has literally everything to do with LSU and themselves.
Yeah.
Hey, we're ready to go out there and we're ready to play. We need this. We know we need to start the season off strong and start rolling early on. We don't have time to get ready. And hey, it's a business trip. We're going to Vegas to play football, not to party. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a legit, like, that is what you want everybody to be able to believe in and
I would
say.
hope they were saying the same shit in their own
No
locker
doubt.
room. I would hope so.
Now,
right?
if we said, the USC's defense is soft and they can't,
they're not ready,
they're not ready for us.
Match. Okay,
that's different.
Okay, yeah,
that's bulletin board material.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, right, like with that bulletin board-esque type material, let's talk about some of the matchups. Right, there's a couple matchups that I think are keys to the game. Actually.
Well, I'm going to play the quote real quick for
okay.
what Bear Alexander quote tweeted with his emojis. Apparently, he took offense to this, but I did not think it would. But, it's people are ready to play.
Palace. We're there to go get in a fist fight, and everybody in this building knows it. And we know what we're there for. We're not there to go to Caesar's Palace. We're there to go get in a fist fight, and everybody in this building knows it. And that's just what it is. We know what we're there for. We're not there to go to.
And what is wrong with that?
Should be a dogfight.
I would
hope you would.
If you aren't saying that it should be a fist fight, then y'all ain't ready.
I would hope you would understand that too.
I mean, come on, dude. Like that's a forcing.
That's what I mean. Like if you're reaching for that, it shows me that you're not really ready for this kind of situation.
No.
And we'll see what it comes down to Sunday night as well.
Former Georgia player that I believe played against LSU in that SEC championship, so he has a little bit of LSU in his heart for Bear Alexander.
That's forced to me. You know what I
I'm
mean?
sure USC's probably more upset with him than LSU was with Will Campbell. I don't think they're mad at Will Campbell at all, but I'm sure they're like, Bear Alexander, we don't need to do any of this. We haven't proven anything defensively yet.
Speaking of, that's good.
Last
Good
time you saw Bear Alexander, he was crying on the football field.
I don't even know who Bear Alexander is.
A former 5-star that transferred from Georgia to USC.
Why did he transfer?
I mean,
Greener pastures.
and then he hit the portal again at USC and
then came
immediately
back.
got back in.
Yeah,
to USC.
didn't love winning
the
national
waters.
championships over there at Georgia, or just didn't play. Maybe weren't good enough to play. I don't want to give him bulletin board material.
Yeah, he was good enough to play. He was
I
somebody
know, I'm just
that-
joking.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
We have seen emotional outpourings in this series.
He's stupid.
He's got a lot of passion for the game, dude. You know, and that's okay. I have no problem. Listen, Connor Stallions was crying after they won, and he was in the stands. Which, by the way, if you have not watched the Connor Stallions documentary on Netflix, I suggest that you watch it. Way better than I anticipated it being. I was looking forward to watching it. Connor Stallions has inspired me to work harder. I'm serious. Like, this man took a job that was given to him that was an obscure job, and he turned it into an absolute weapon for Michigan. And you can say he cheated or not cheated or do whatever. He just did it better than everybody else, and he teetered in the gray. He exploited the rules. I don't believe he broke the rules. He doesn't either. That was his words. But it was pretty wild to see all the things that he did and the lengths of preparation that he had. Not necessarily going out and videoing everybody, but how he came up with his own system. I mean, he used every bit of that Marine training that he got in the job that he had with Michigan, which I thought was pretty crazy.
And he did go out and film some teams. He did sneak onto the Central Michigan sidelines. I'm pretty sure that was him. And then
He said it wasn't.
And Dave Portnoy was on there, a Michigan man himself. He goes, yeah, it was him.
Definitely
He told me it was.
And so he goes, he's saying on the interview, oh, no, it wasn't me. Pulling up the picture, like, this doesn't even look like me. False. It does kind of look like you. But even if you say it's not you, then you go to the attorneys and you have a deposition, and they ask you if it was you, and he says, I do not recall.
Right.
Okay.
You'd want to perjure yourself.
Yeah. But how did he get on the sidelines?
I think because of the way that they put it out there, it's like he had a vast network of coaches and friends because
he was helping Central Michigan.
They wanted what he had also. So he was like, hey, we're going to play them. If you let me on the sidelines, I'll give you something on whoever y'all are playing next, however that works. Like he had obviously a litany of a 20,000-page manifesto of sign stealing and how he did it. So I'm sure it's pretty easy for him to get some favors done.
I can't wait till he publishes the manifesto.
He said he never will.
Really?
Yeah, that's for when he gets his head coaching
Yeah, but
opportunity.
at the end of the year, at the end when he's done, he can post it. He can.
Whenever he retires.
Yeah.
40 years.
If he gets another coaching job,
Yeah.
which I think he will.
He has one right now.
Like a major coaching job, not a high school job. He's a high school DC in Detroit, Michigan.
Probably because somebody was just like, oh, Connor Stallions.
I bet
Legend.
I bet you they're going to be prepared.
I don't know if I guess it's probably easier
Look,
to steal
he's the
signs in
reason.
high school.
He's the reason Harold Perkins has the green dot helmet.
Yep.
Which have they announced if who's going to get that?
Mm-mm.
No, they haven't announced that yet, right?
I don't think you'll see an announcement on it
No,
until the game.
I don't think so either.
You'll see the dot.
But going back to the game, there's a couple matchups that I, in particular, I'm looking forward to watching, and I think that's going to be pretty key matchups for the game and the deciding factor of the game. But I want to hear y'all's opinion. Jay, what do you think? What do you like most as far as matchup wise?
As far as matchup, I mean, obviously, I want to see how this D line is kind of going to hold up against USC. Against USC, so obviously LSU's D line against USC. But I really do. I think one of the bigger matchups that'll be in the game is USC has a foursome of sophomore receivers who all got a lot of run last year, and one of them who is truly one of the more explosive playmakers in the country is Zachariah Branch. I want to see what the secondary is going to look like against them. I would imagine they're going to lean on those guys a lot to have a lot of progression from year one, and they're going to get even more playing time this year. It will be key to know how our secondary is going to play against that group of guys, and I think the better we are against them, the better we'll be not only in this game, but obviously as the season progresses as well. It's a very good test for this LSU secondary and the LSU front straight out the gate.
And the danger of not only are they explosive in the receiving group, Zachariah Branch is one of the most explosive returners in the game too. So you have to deal with a wide receiver in the scheme of the offense, but you also got to deal with him in 2 of the 3 phases of the game as far as return game goes. So to me, that's going to be a big matchup. For me, I liked LSU's offensive line versus USC's defensive line. Obviously, DeAnt Lynn, we talked about how good his defense has been and how quickly they progressed from UCLA from year 1 to year 2, or from when he got there, the year before he got there to the year he got there, and how good their run defense was. That's obviously what they hung their hat on. You're not going to be able to run on us, and they're going to make you one-dimensional, which every defensive coordinator wants to do. That's LSU's goal for USC, is to make them one-dimensional, whether that means USC is going to have to throw the ball 500 times in the game and not be able to run the ball, or they're not going to be able to throw it all and they're going to be able to run. I think obviously it's probably going to be more of the passing than the running, but that's what he does for his defenses. And so if you're just looking at it on paper, LSU's offensive line is supposed to be one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country. USC's defensive line is undersized compared to LSU's offensive line. So everybody's automatically assuming, like, oh, we're just going to be able to run it down their throats at will and move them off the ball. Yeah, maybe so. But I wouldn't be so confident that they're not going to be able to stop us at all, right? I'm not saying that we're going to have rushed for 60, 70 yards in the game. I'm just saying that I think the running game is going to be a little bit more old school in the sense of, hey, let's get 4 or 5 yards here, 3 yards here. Let's just keep the thing moving forward. What I'm hoping, what I want to see is LSU's offensive line is significantly bigger than USC's defensive line. And so I think as the game goes on, I want to see the offensive line continue to wear them down and continue to get that push. And as you start to see the game go, 3rd, 4th quarter, now those 3-4 yard runs start to turn into 8, 9, 10-yard runs, and they're able to seal the game.
I can tell you right now, much like LSU, who I expect to be vastly improved this year, but with the defense, so what he was able to do, what Lynn was able to do at UCLA, which I would imagine he's going to have a similar effect here at USC, is when a defense is able to get that much better that quickly, that tells me they were terrible at a couple things that are fundamental things that I don't care if you have the best of talent or the worst of talent, you should be able to do.
Yeah.
Alignment, assignment, and staying in gaps.
Similar LSU.
Alignment, assignment, and staying in gaps. And if I had to guess, if I went and studied and saw all of the tape, I guarantee you the year before when UCLA was terrible, that's what they didn't do. And when he got there, he made sure we're gonna have the discipline in those 3 things, and that alone fixes a lot of your problems. I'm sure he's bringing that over to USC as well. So I expect them to be a better team just off of being able to do those things. And then now, that's when the talent really comes into it, because that's when it's, can you tackle me in a phone booth? Can I get out of a tackle in a phone booth? Who can beat each man on man in those situations? And usually when you do and the other people around you are doing the right things, minimal gains happen. You're not going to see big 30-yard busts over and over and over again, right? So I think that's going to be a big part of the game, and I would imagine that's what he's bringing in his defense. So, yeah, like you said, I don't expect it to just be 250 yards on the ground. We're blowing them out the door. And no. I expect us to be able to lean on them and continue to lean on them because of the size and the strength and the experience that we have up front. But it will be a dogfight. 100% it will be a dogfight.
Look, what's your take?
That's part of what I'm thinking. I'm looking at the rushing yards from LSU last year, because LSU hasn't really run the ball that effectively without Jaden Daniels, because he was such a big factor in your rushing game. He ran for 1,100 yards last year. And so when LSU played in big games, it was Jaden Daniels that led the team in rushing. And that's my biggest, I don't want to say concern, but biggest question mark, because you do return Josh Williams, you return John Emery, but it's still guys that they were never your leading rusher last year. It was Noah Kane that did it whenever you needed a running back to get your most yards. I think it was against Missouri. He had 101.
Who entered the chat this year, though? Caleb Jackson did, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. He hadn't done it yet, and that's what I'm most interested to see against the USC defensive line. You can't go 2 clicks on the internet without seeing that their defensive line beefed up and added 340 pounds of total weight. So obviously they wanted to change kind of their direction of what they were doing on defense under Alex Grinch. It was very much a speed-based defense, and they got pushed around a ton. And if that would be the same case,
I think LSU would have been able to run the ball that people are expecting. But now that they've added weight, and I think D'Antoni's scheme is going to make it a little bit tougher, especially with an unproven rushing attack that LSU has.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not sold that it's just the scheme. I think there's a lot of basic defense stuff that needs to be done when you see teams improve that big in the course of 1 year. But I'm curious to see, because I do think the actual traditional run game, if you will, and or your RPO system is going to have to be a lot different than what it's been in the last couple of years from LSU. But we know for a fact you're not going to see the same type of offense that was run by Jaden Daniels. It's just not. You have a different type of quarterback. So how are you going to implement getting those rushing yards and or those extension of the rushing game, which is the RPO stuff that, you spread you out with? So I'm curious to see how that goes as well.
I do think that whenever I've read a little bit about, I think Matthew Brune from 1-3 put out a USC defensive breakdown, and it was under the guise of D'Anton's defense at UCLA, which obviously had better players. But a lot of what they did was force the quarterback off their spot. And a lot of things that Nuss can do well, which is throw on the run, kind of make plays outside of the scheme that he's supposed to be in. And I think you'll see him throw to the running backs a ton. Like, it'll be a lot of get the ball out your hands quick if they're bringing pressure. And LSU has Caleb Jackson reportedly has been great at catching the ball out the backfield. We know what Josh Williams can do out the backfield. Like, we know what John Emery can do out the backfield. I think you'll see maybe not the big plays early on, but you'll see like, get it out on pass plays. It'll be get it out in my hands quick, and it could be great for Mason Taylor. The road to 1K starts Sunday.
That's it. Listen, I
have 11 catches for 110, and Mike's be like, I told y'all.
What if he goes for a monster game first? I'm like, I feel good about it. 700. Remember, we went down to 700. But
Floated with 500.
I don't need to see the offense have 20, 30, 40-yard chunk plays at will early in the game. Like, that's not – you can't expect that first game of the season against a good team with a new quarterback. But what I do want to see, and what you can expect, is the offense to run and be in rhythm and run pretty smoothly. It's going to look differently, like Jared said, which it should. If it didn't, and you try to run the same concepts and the same type of offense you ran last year with a quarterback that doesn't have that same skill set, then you're doing a disadvantage to the team and the quarterback, and you're not really that good of an offensive coordinator, which I think Joe Sloan's a great offensive coordinator. So I think that he obviously knows that the scheme needs to be a little different. So as long as you're seeing rhythm in the game, whether that's, hey, we're going to get a nice balance of run pass, we're going to go through the concepts, and the quarterback's getting through his progressions, and he's getting pressure and knows where his outlets are, knows where his hot routes are. That to me is the most important thing, because if you're doing that early on, all that's going to do is get better as the game goes and the game gets longer. And when you get to the third, fourth quarter, those checkdowns and those reads are going to end up opening up a little bit more. Like, you're not going to have to, receivers are going to be open, or you're going to feel a lot more comfortable in this offense and feel confident, and you're going to get in a rhythm, and you're going to start making those big chunk plays. So that to me is the most important thing.
That's what I wanted to point out, because I think a lot of people have a different take on what LSU is going to do in the football game, and a lot of it's running the football. And in that third and fourth quarter, where it's put the game on ice and run the football, don't let USC and its offense get the ball back and be able to quick strike you and score and keep themselves in the football game. So I think it might be a little bit of maybe the other way around, where you try to. I think you obviously want to establish a run, but I think it'll open up hopefully the run game gets going a little bit. Then you can hit him over the head. And then third and fourth quarter, Caleb Jackson comes in and seals the deal for you.
I mean, if you go back and watch the tape from the bowl game, I think that's what you're going to get a lot of. That's how they kind of got him comfortable, kind of got him going last year. And, obviously he won't have Malik in the beginning of the game as well. That's not a thing anymore. But that's what they did in the bowl game. That was the blueprint to it. They kind of dunked it a little bit early. They got him some easy completions. They ran the ball a little bit. And next thing you know, in the fourth quarter, you looked up and he's thrown for 300 yards. And you're like, wait.
Nearly 400.
Right.
Exactly. Well, so I think you'll see a lot of that as well. But that's how this team's going to play.
Yeah.
And the more they get comfortable, the more they can start taking shots early on. But it's not just comfort. You got to learn. You got to earn that trust. You got to earn that from the play caller. He's got to be able to see that you can do these things consistently for me to scheme that kind of stuff up for you in the first 10, first 15, however they run it.
Well, and look, and I don't want people to get that confused with, like you have to go and tailor out and make him some easy throws. That's not just because Nuss. That's what every offensive coordinator is going to do for their quarterback. Is like, hey, let's get you into the – it's very hard for you to come out there and say, hey, first play of the game, you're dropping back, and I need these deep crossers, and I need you to go. Like, no. You got to – it's a boxing match. There's jabs. You got to feel out kind of what everybody's trying to do, and part of that is trying to get your quarterback in a position where he is comfortable and he starts getting in rhythm. That's why when
deep routes are made off of deception anyway. Like,
Right.
I got to see what you're going to do in these certain situations to know where can I start buying more time and pushing the ball downfield. So if you're going to make that safety close on this crosser when we run it 3 times in a row, well, now I know I can throw the post on top of it because I know that safety's going to come down and take this crosser. So if I don't know if you're going to do those things, I'm not just running wide open post routes, go downtown, and that's my main read to start the game. It's usually not a thing. So like that, kind of that, it's like you said, it's the boxing match of it.
Yeah.
You got to be able to know what this other team's going to do and how they're playing stuff. And that's part of the scripted stuff because it's a lot of times coordinators, they're scripting off of, I need to know what you're going to do. And then maybe if there's some history with you, maybe if they've seen you a bunch of times, maybe if they know what you're doing, then at that point they can start scripting off of, you play this way, we're playing to bust you in the mouth to start this game and really blow this thing open. That's kind of how it goes.
100%.
Well,
Right?
the interesting thing is Brian Kelly has spoken on this because they tried he obviously was saying that they're getting ready for USC and game prep, and 2 weeks in, we're treating it like a bye week and preparing for USC. And admittedly, he's like, it's been difficult to prepare for USC because we don't know how their style matches up under D'Anton Lynn with those players as it did.
Right.
So they're trying to they want to watch USC game tape to study USC players, but now they're having to watch scheme-wise D'Anton Lynn, so it hasn't been
that's even
clear
more,
as mud.
Yeah, that's even more, to me, that's even more evidence that don't expect them to come out trying to push the ball down the field and all that stuff. It will literally be a body blow. I'm trying to lower your hands. That way I can actually start throwing the haymakers. That's what I expect to see them early on to start. The only way it doesn't work is if LSU's defense doesn't hold up and do what they need to do on that side. Then you kind of have to, you get down two scores, you kind of have to start pushing the ball a little bit. So that's how it's got to, I expect that to go that way a little bit.
And that's the other side that I think is extremely interesting because I watched the Miller Moss bowl game yesterday, and the way that he functions in that in that offense is almost tailor-made for what Lincoln Riley wants to do. Like, Caleb Williams is very much a one-man band where he would call plays, but then he was doing his own thing as soon as the ball was snapped. Miller Moss very much played within the scheme of the offense, and it was quick strike passing, and it was right down the field. And if LSU's corners aren't able to match up, which feels like one of the weaknesses of your defense, then I think it could turn into a track meet where USC is able to go down the field. And Lincoln Riley's first 15, he knows what he's looking at. He has an LSU defense with Sage Ryan at corner, and now Ashton Stamps is a 1 at corner, so there's tape on those guys. And so with that matchup, I think that you will see Lincoln Riley come out firing pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be so sure of that. And the only reason why I say that is because the same problem you just posed for LSU trying to figure out, they're going through the same thing. Corey wasn't here last year. Bo Davis wasn't here last year. The defense was ran completely different. So they don't know. They're going to sit here and watch, hey, how did he have these corners playing? How did Blake Baker have that defense playing? And I don't know how it's going to match up to the players that are here as well. So they're both looking at the same stuff when it comes to preparing for this game. So I wouldn't expect them to come out going with anything crazy as well.
I just think that Lincoln knows his offense better than LSU knows what its offense is.
I disagree.
Why would you say that? What makes you think that?
Because Lincoln's everywhere he's gone, he's scored 40-plus or 34
what does
points
that
a
matter?
game.
What does that mean about
average.
the 2024 team that?
Well, I think he understands who Miller. That's what's so funny about this game is the parallels are so similar. Like, you feel like you know what you have in Musmeyer. They feel like they kind of know what they have in Miller Moss, but they've only done it in one game.
Right.
But I think Lincoln Riley's scheme is something that he trusts implicitly, where he's like, I know what I can do against whatever defense that goes out there. Like, I'll be able to adjust pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, listen, you may not be wrong. That he may feel that way too, but you also have to remember that scheme, who has produced the amount of quarterbacks that have come out of there. All these guys have gone out and had success in the NFL. So obviously he's had players there as well, right? And I'm not saying that Miller Moss is, and I'm not saying that he isn't, right?
Right.
But he's still the unknown at this point. So I think there is going to be a part of let's get loose with this thing before I just start pushing.
Well, and here's the other thing is that offense, Lincoln Riley's offenses historically, they've been very, very explosive and very good, but they're also predicated on rhythm, right? They're predicated on kind of getting the flow of the game. He gets in his rhythm with his play calling. The quarterback gets in a rhythm with the way he's throwing the football. In the games that they did not score a bunch of points last year with the number 1 overall quarterback in the country, with the number 1 overall pick in the country, with a generationally type talented quarterback. There were games where they didn't score 20. They scored 20. They didn't score 30 points. They lost to UCLA last year, right? DeAnt Lynn, and UCLA had held them to 20 points,
Yep.
right? And so in the games that they weren't super effective. You saw them get out of rhythm. You saw them get pressure on the quarterback. You saw them not do the things, and it was hard for them to kind of get back on track. And that's with a super talented team. I'm not saying that they're not good offense.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they've been shown, it's been proven that if you can get them out of rhythm, it's hard for them to get going.
Yeah, I would imagine there's 3 games that I really look at that I feel like if you are LSU and you're trying to figure out what you got, what you got a chance to do. Oregon game last year, UCLA game last year, and the Utah game last year. I would imagine those are the 3 games that LSU is going to take that tape heavily and put it into implement and kind of figure out how can we run our stuff around whatever they did, because they were able to shut down a former Heisman winner and a pretty damn good offense right there. And obviously Lincoln is good at what he does. So if they're able to shut him down, what do we need to do to be able to kind of duplicate what they did? I would imagine those 3 games are something they've been leaning on heavily when it comes to trying to put together a game plan for Sunday night.
Well, and look, and what I consider, people consider that a weakness, and I think it's going to be kind of a shock to the college football world, or really LSU fans, on how good the defensive line can be, right? I think the defensive line you may look up at the end of the year and like, damn, this is kind of a strength of us. With that quick passing game and the game, what they showed in the bowl game, it's going to be very hard for them to get to the quarterback if he's getting rid of it that quick. Now, Caleb Williams, as talented as he was, sometimes he would go around and run around and kind of improvise, and it ended up being great. Sometimes ended up being bad. He was holding the ball for 7-8 seconds, and it was allowing him to give up sacks, but he was also avoiding some of the pressure at the same time. So if the defensive line can't get to it and it's a quick passing game, it's going to be very, very important for them to be able to affect the quarterback in some other way, and that is hands up, batting down balls, making him change his arm angle to be able to get it into some different windows, and that maybe will help the secondary a little bit, try to help the secondary defend these super talented receivers. I was looking up Miller Moss. He's 6'2". He's listed at 6'2". To me, he's probably 6 feet. Usually, when you're listed at where you're at, you're probably there's not very many times it's like right on par. So there's an opportunity for you to kind of affect his eyesight, the way he's seeing receivers, kind of getting his eye level and bat some balls down. So if they're going to go with the quick passing, the defensive line is going to have to figure out a different way to affect him. Yeah,
and I think it will be interesting also because, like Jared said, it's a different scheme, and everything that you saw from LSU's defense last year is probably the exact opposite of what they want to do this year. It was a lot of cover 4, cover 3. Now they want to run cover 1 man and do all the things that Corey Raymond has kind of built his brand on with. We want to see you play man-to-man football, and Blake Baker loves to bring pressure, and I don't think that they want to change any of that. They're going to want to do what they practiced the entire year, and they don't want to get out of that. So there's going to be times where Miller Moss is going to have to get rid of it quick, and it's going to be having to go to his hot and having to quick strike and call plays. And if that goes the wrong way, you're going to have Zachariah Branch going on 80 with the act because there ain't going to be anybody left.
Well, here's the thing. You're going to have to – it's weird. Nobody can survive, really, by just playing cover 0, cover 1, like
right,
game
you
in,
cover
game
3,
out.
Mix it up.
But no. But here's the thing. When it comes to what they actually want to do, that's going to be predicated a lot what they're able to do up front. If I'm able to kind of stifle the run game early, then I can get you in long, predictable downs. Then I can send extra people and get in man-to-man situations knowing that the ball has to come out. And or if they're seeing early in the game, we're able to get pressure with the front four, then they can start taking those kind of gambles earlier in the game. So that's not really – I would imagine Blake's going to call this game defensively off of what they're able to actually do. Right? Like, they're not going to just practice one thing, and if it ain't working, here's 60 points. Here's a 60 burger. You can just go ahead and blow us up. Right? I think they have a good idea of what they're good at and what they want to do, and the game flow is going to kind of give them the idea of, all right, what are we going to be able to do as this game matures and as it progresses?
And all of this talk just makes me think it's going to be close.
It's going to be a good ball game.
That's what I was going to get to, right? I'm looking at the lines right now.
What is it? Still at
I
4?
dusted off the app
Uh-oh.
that we have. I dusted off the app. Just made my first bet.
Which was?
Took LSU minus the points.
Mm.
Is it still sitting at 4?
It's 4.5 on some, 4 on some for some other apps. Do y'all like the 4?
No.
You like USC plus 4?
LSU money line is what I did in the over. But with the new
LSU money line's like minus almost 200.
yeah, that's why I parlayed it with the over.
But you don't like the -4 or 4.5?
No, I think that's right on the number.
I like him at like 6. I would take the -4.
LSU minus 4? I took the minus 4.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a 1-possession game. Like you'll be sweating that out, is what I'm saying. I'm trying to avoid a sweat.
You're not really trying to gamble then.
Yeah. Money line's still a gamble.
I resisted the urge. I'm a changed gambler.
Okay, I heard
Changed
this
man.
last year.
I resisted the urge.
It's week 1. Just give us some time.
I resisted the urge to parlay it. I resisted the minus points and parlay the over under. Right. I'm taking one specific bet. And that's what I'm going to do. You like the over 64?
See, I did, and this was just a kind of like gut feel type early game. You're not really Lincoln Riley's offense. LSU feels like it has playmakers on the other side. You don't know how much different USC's defense or LSU's defense will be, so it made sense. But now that the new clock, some of these lines are going to be a little inflated, but they don't expect people to really take that into consideration, which obviously you have to because the game clock will continue to run, but the first down is gained in bounds. The game clock will be stopped subsequent to the 2-minute timeout.
It's
each half.
It's NFL rules.
NFL rules.
Yeah.
And so it's going to, the pace of play in college football is sped up incredibly.
Yes, you're not going to have as many plays.
Right.
Right, which is I think is a good thing.
I do too.
Bad for the over/under.
No.
Bad for the total.
Right.
Well, that'll be adjusted.
So I'm looking at the percentage of bets, right? That's what they say. The key is the percentage of the bets and where the money's coming from. LSU's got 55% of the bets.
Mm.
So
Paid the
almost
public.
50-50. It's not a ton.
On the money line?
64% of the money. So, it's not. It's pretty like
Yeah.
Close.
it's pretty close.
The stink is when it's the public is all over it and the money's on the other side. So this is pretty much par for the course.
Right.
Whatever.
More money
There's nothing to really read
This
into
is
that.
what Vegas is looking for right now.
Yeah, exactly. And LSU lines, especially the first game of the year, it's hard to look into the total bets or the percentage of who bet on what team more because LSU fans are degenerates and they start gambling on LSU out of they just start going in droves, especially with it being in Vegas. I'd imagine that number's going to change as soon as they get into town.
So I gotta be careful. So big games. There's big early games on Saturday. 11 o'clock Central Time means Saturday morning at 9 is when the game's gonna kicking off. I'm gonna be having some mimosas at breakfast.
I would hope so. I mean, what
Trying
are you
to
going
wake
there
up.
for? You're not going for a fist fight.
Well, I gotta make sure I'm up.
Well, the more you're up, the later this game's going to get.
But I said,
And
well, do
that's
you
when
have
that
to be up, or
phone's
can you?
gonna-
I mean, just
No, I know.
plant
what he-
yourself in one of those casinos and take in that
Yeah, the
oxygen.
cigarette
There you
smell.
go. What do you mean?
No, they don't smoke in there.
They smoke in there.
No, they don't.
Not on the floor.
I thought you could smoke cigarettes inside.
No, I think they got rid of that. I think maybe I'm
There's
wrong.
definitely-
There's ways to not worry about being up. If you
Oh no!
really
Oh no!
wanted to.
No, I know what he was saying. He said he's going to start drinking early, and by the time that LSU USC game
Yeah.
rolls around, he's going to
On
have that
Sunday.
liquid courage.
On Sunday. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. I'm gonna be up early on Saturday. I'm gonna be gambling the early games, watching them, which I think I kind of like because the pool party. We have a pool party.
A pool party.
So like, I really get loosened up with the gambling. Let's go get
What
breakfast.
time does Dancing Mikey come out? That's the real question. Like, at what time does under 1
Saturday?
p.m.
That's probably a good time. Pool party, DJ.
For all y'all don't know, when Dancing Mikey comes out,
Tarps
let me
off.
tell you, he is in another city at that point. Literally.
Great time. If I could just bottle it up, put it, make it into a pill, it'd be great.
They do sell those.
No, they don't.
boy.
Not the feeling that I get.
No.
Oh,
There's a
wow.
lot. It's like
It's like a high.
It's great. It's a great place to be. Okay, so you like the over? Or you don't like the over?
Well, I took the over.
Okay, but do you like that?
Yeah, but I have to ride with it. No, I'm not changing the bet. But I just thought that was an interesting angle because you saw some of the games, and I guess the first game in Ireland, the total went under, and it wasn't exactly like a very good defense. It just kind of felt like he ran out of time. And it was because it was moving a little bit quicker than
Yeah.
and Georgia Tech was able to control the clock a little bit more, but they were scoring early. And then it just felt like that game went by faster. So now I'm starting to think, okay, this is going to play a major factor in how you gamble on games, at least early on.
Do you have any other games that you like that you want to gamble on?
I mean, we got a great slate.
I know, so I'm kind of going through right now. It's Ask Mikey and Mitch. Put your questions in the chat. We're going to get to them here in a little bit.
We'll get to them at 7. We have a good litany of questions, but continue to ask.
Obviously, the big first game is Clemson, Georgia. 13.5-point spread.
It's a big one.
I think I like Georgia with the points.
I like a money line. I'm not sure if I love them. I do think Clemson's got a chance to be sneaky this year, better than what they've been. You got a quarterback who is a huge prospect, who has a ton of experience coming back for year 2 this year. 13.5, even though it's Georgia, even though they're bringing back a whole bunch of experienced players. In game 1, it just seems like a lot. Like, I like a money line. I wouldn't take him on the spread here.
What do you think? I know this is kind of projecting, but I feel like this line at 13.5, if they played in week 9, I don't think it would be
13.5 in week 9. I'm taking it.
Me too.
13.5 between the hedges. I'm taking it.
Yeah. Game
I
1,
get it.
yeah.
Atlanta's not that far from him, but neither is it for Clemson. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about that.
No,
one.
I just think Clemson, like you said, is probably a little bit sneakier than people think because there's this narrative around Dabo that he's kind of lost his fastball. But I agree with it because I don't like him. But they did win 10 games last year, and even though Cade Klubnik, averaged 6.5 yards a pass and threw for 3,000 yards, fewer than 3,000 yards, but threw over 450 passes. That's what DJU did.
Yeah.
Like you're like, this is not a functional offense.
Yeah.
And if you let Georgia's defense start getting eaten,
Yeah.
but I do think the number's too high.
Okay.
He likes it though.
Yeah.
I think I do like
It's
it.
gonna fade him.
I don't like.
We fade gambling.
Yeah.
We fade him all.
I don't like Clemson's quarterback.
I don't love him either,
I don't
but
like
I do
Clemson's
think
good.
there's a lot behind him being a 5-star and all of the talent. I mean, all of the experience that he got last year coming into year 2. That doesn't mean I think that he's going to be a Heisman winner or anything this year, but I do think that club's better than what people think they are. I think they'll be much improved from what people saw them as last year, and I think he's going to be better than what people thought he was.
Is Trevor Etienne gonna play?
Who?
He may not be playing game 1.
Who?
They may be down to
Etienne?
like running back number 3 in game 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at because they lost Dejon Edwards, Kendra Milton, Roderick Robertson was their leading rusher returning, and he is out.
He's out for sure.
And then
Trevor may or may not be out.
I could see this is a Kirby Smart special. Like, we're gonna have to suspend him for a different game. Pick a different
This
one.
will be a big.
Or
What's
you
his
could-
name? Oscar Delt game.
Or you could do the.
It could be christened into college football public tomorrow.
Or you could
Saturday.
do the Gundy and be like, oh, I'm going to punish him on the football field. I'm going to give it to him 50 times.
Yeah. They're gonna make him exhausted.
Yeah.
They're gonna exhaust him.
Oh, he's going to run. It's just going to be in the game.
I want to hear your thoughts on this next game. Penn State, West Virginia. 8.5.
In West Virginia, too.
8.5.
Penn State's getting it, correct? That might be my upset of the week.
I love it too.
Can't lie to you.
I think I'd take West Virginia.
You taking the Pat McAfee show there on Friday? Hey, those kids are gonna wake up Saturday morning, drunk as hell, still going crazy. I believe it's a day game too. I kind of like West Virginia to
11 a.m.
upset her here.
I just don't.
Speaking of quarterbacks you don't like.
He was a big recruit too for them,
Oh, yeah.
but I just don't.
He hasn't
This is a
played well.
game Penn State
They don't play
clunky.
well in big games.
No.
You could say that this is a big game. West Virginia is probably
This
not.
is a big game.
I think they're better than
No, it's
people
a big
think they
game.
are.
They're
This
not
is
in four last
legit a big game right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I don't think people think of West Virginia as going 9-4 last year. I think you never really saw them, and so it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. They weren't ever really in the playoff conversation, but they weren't bad. But with all that said, God, it's hard to bet Penn State in a game like this, even though it's at noon.
is.
Like if it was
I
at
think-
night, West Virginia.
I think I'm
for
gonna
sure.
put a little. I'm not gonna put the same units that I usually put, but I'm gonna put some units on money line on West Virginia. I really do. Now, which means y'all aren't gonna take it because y'all fade me. It's okay.
I'm gonna just root from the sideline.
Oh, okay. I missed the game that I did want to talk about.
Wow, West Virginia does bring back both its team's top 3 leading rushers and obviously their quarterback's coming back. But Penn State did hire a new offensive coordinator, the co-offensive coordinator from Kansas,
Which Kansas did have a
Andy
good offense.
Koltnicki. But yeah, well, I think that was a lot to do with their quarterback.
Yeah. All
He
right.
was out.
So, but we're gonna go back to the slate on the weekends. But there's really not a huge slate of games that are interesting tomorrow. The one interesting game that I am looking forward to watching is North Dakota State versus Colorado.
Absolutely.
Colorado's favored by 9.5.
Fully expect Colorado to win this game.
9.5.
Yeah. Ooh.
I know. This is North Dakota State's first time.
I would
in
fade,
Division I, but
I'd
like
fade
they've
the
been a
spread
power.
this one. I'd fade the spread on this one. Take the money line on Colorado on this one. They should have the beef up front to be able to take care of this one. I just don't know where they're at with that, so I don't know if 9.5 is a number that I'm willing to buy in this situation in there.
It's like just at the perfect amount where I'm like, if it was like 10.5 or like 11, I'd be like, oh, I'm taking
Yeah, they're not
North
going to
Dakota
do that.
State.
They're not going to give you.
I think it
extra
started. I
possession.
think it was at 10 at one point.
I think it's a massive. I mean, you could play the single if you want. North Dakota State obviously has been a consistent program that is always somebody where you look at and go, I don't think
most national championships in division.
Yeah, they just.
FBS.
I think they're coming off back-to-back national championships. So it's a team that if I were Colorado, I wouldn't have liked to see on the schedule, especially with all of the turmoil that you've had in the offseason. You don't know how much better they actually got.
But with that said, the issue with Colorado is not the skill position players, it's the guys up front. I think I don't know if North Dakota State has the guys up front to exploit that, right? And so I think that the skill position players that Colorado has will be able to get excel and score points.
Well, you say skill positions. I know I can name 2 players on Colorado.
Don't they have a really good running back?
They got another good receiver too. And I don't know if that running back is still there. The one that
I think he transferred.
Right. And their 5-star corner transferred too.
Yeah, but he didn't play.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying when you think about talent, like these are guys that people would just be like, oh, Colorado's got 3 5-stars.
No. But look, they're gonna go out and be able to. I don't want to say skill position players are easier to find because that's not necessarily the case. But there's more skill position players that you can develop into being really good players than they are guys up front. I think
it's not even that, dude. Like, it's just, let's tell the truth. When I walk around in the street every day, it's really hard to find someone that's 6'6",
exactly
320 with good feet that are strong. Like, you just don't find that many of them.
Right.
So when you do, there's that much less of them, and to be able to get them on your team is what you want. You can't have that across college football. It just don't happen. It's just not that. So, like you said, it is easier to find and develop skill players, especially behind a line, if you got it, that can open it up and give you the time and the opportunity to do what you do.
Y'all like this 59.5
in that game? Yeah, I do.
You like over that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would be hard pressed to bet Colorado in this game because you got to prove it. Like I don't know how.
I think I'm gonna watch this one from the sidelines too. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, then
you'll.
I take money on it. And be then you'll be like, I knew North Dakota State could have pulled this off.
I wasn't gonna take money line.
Oh no, but I'm saying if it is like it would be just like the Florida State game where everybody was watching. Like I had a feeling that this could have happened, but not many people bet it.
Let's talk betting strategy right here for a second. I know you like to tease.
I like to win.
The ultimate tease.
I know. And look, I get the teasing. I'm probably going to try to dabble in that game a little bit this year.
Uh-oh, fade.
You were anti.
Fade teasing this year.
I was anti, but I obviously didn't win money last year.
Fade teasing.
Yeah, now I'm back to money line parlays.
I was notorious for throwing money at bets that are very, far-fetched. But that was more the NFL
You love to
style.
talk yourself into that.
Yeah, that was I think that, but I enjoy that because it's fun, but I think what I'm going to do is when I do that, it's going to be a way lower unit.
All you really need to do is just turn the betting app off on Saturday. That way you don't do that for Sunday.
Yeah.
That's really all it was. Let's be honest.
Because I'm still going to add some parlays, but I'm going to have hey, instead of it being, $50 to win $5,000, I'm going to do $5 to win $500. Okay?
The app knows that they ding you as soon as you hit that big bet.
Hey, we got another one. We tricked his ass into another one.
Ding it. Oh, we eat steaks tonight, baby.
We got him.
We got him.
Look at this idiot. 12-team parlay. He's going to lose it on the first game.
First game, he's coming back.
Yeah.
Well, the other 11 would have won.
We'll get him. Look at this dummy.
Yeah. That is one thing that I've never done. Like maybe $1 for a 10-team parlay. But,
yeah. I mean, I don't usually do 10.
I've seen your 3 and 4 game parlays that are the numbers a little high for what you expect to happen.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's like that. Maybe just bet that number on one game. And
Yeah,
we'll
of
start
course.
there. And then
Trying
you
to go to
can-
mortgage on one bet.
And he's like, oh man, I hit 3 bets yesterday. Like,
Now,
but it was a
I
14
did-
parlay.
Now,
Like, so you
but
lost.
But here's the
I see
deal.
what
Yeah.
I would the college parlays. Hey, it was the NFL ones that would crush me. I'm like, I was just
You can't not.
Overzealous.
just bring the totals down.
Just put the phone
Yeah,
down
just
when
put it
you're
down.
winning it on Saturday and you got the juices flowing through you. Just put the phone down, or at least make the bets before Saturday for Sunday. One of the two.
That Sunday brain
one
is
of the
not
two.
good for
yeah,
you.
no,
That
it's
Sunday
not.
brand is hard to hit
Yeah.
on. boy.
Ooh.
Hey,
I'm awake.
If
but
the,
should I
if the
be?
NFL had it the way they really wanted it, every team would be 9-8. Like you'd never be able to figure
no
it
doubt.
out. Like that's
No doubt.
that's how it would be.
what we got on Miami Florida game? That's the
I love
one
that
I
one,
can't
too.
wait to watch.
I love that one.
2.5. Miami's favored by 2.5. Florida money lines plus 122. That's it.
Give me
54
Miami in an absolute dogfight, and I still think Florida's going to be a hard out for a lot of teams all year because of how they play in this game.
I like Florida.
Where is the game? It's in where is it?
I don't know.
It's not at one of them. It's a neutral site game, right?
I believe so. I'd imagine. I'm not 100% sure. Florida's the
No,
home
it's,
team.
it's at
Yeah.
Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
Oh, it's at
Oh, it's
Florida.
at-
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
change it
That's
for me
why
a
there's
little
2.5. The percentage of bets are basically right down the middle.
That might change it for me a little bit.
Percentage of bets: 53% Miami, 47% Florida. More money on Florida though. 55% of the money is on Florida. I think I like Florida money line. What do you like?
I'm trying to.
You're gonna tease the fuck out of that game. I know it.
I might. I'm trying to find. I know that Cam Ward is turnover prone. He's thrown 30 interceptions in his career, and I think he's fumbled like something like 15 times. And that's who's the man that left Washington State, then declared for the draft, and then signed with Miami, a huge NIL deal. And so they needed a quarterback, or felt like they did.
Yeah.
And now that they maybe have one, because they started off hot last year with the quarterback that they had. I forget his name.
Miami,
Yeah.
Van Dyke, or is it Dyke? Didn't he transfer?
Yeah,
out?
yeah, that's something like that. But he was like good,
Yeah.
like throwing for over 300 yards, and then he just was broken.
Fell off. He was supposed to be really good for a long time, and like finally they felt, oh, he finally did it, and didn't do it.
And so I'm interested to see. Obviously, it feels like this is an easy thing to say, but both coaches feels like they're almost coaching for their jobs game one. I do think that Napier is probably a better coach than Cristobal playing at home. You'll find out a lot about both teams in this week one matchup, but you almost have to go SEC here and just see what happens.
I'm taking Florida money line. That's all I want to do.
I like that one too,
Yeah.
especially with it being in Gainesville. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that one too.
Oh, they're getting two. Yeah, this is a tease.com. Are you kidding? Florida plus 2.5. You get it at
7.5.
7, 8, 9.5. Yeah. Yeah.
Here's one.
You feel great about that, just watching the game.
And this one's not going to be because I'm not expecting him to lose this game. But the spread's very high. Colorado State, Texas. 31.5 points. Texas. I know that Texas is going to try to come out and make a statement. They're supposed to be really good. The running backs are down. But Colorado State's got two really good. Their quarterback's good. Right? There's interviews and quotes throughout the offseason that him and the receiver turned down $600,000 of NIL money to stay at Colorado State. 31.5. I mean, like, if Texas beat them by 30 points, everybody look at him like, damn, they beat the shit out of them. But, like, 31.5 is a lot of points to cover by. So, part of me kind of likes Colorado State 31.5.
Yeah, I like Colorado State on that.
Yeah.
I'd take Texas money line all day on that. 31.5 in week one against pretty decent Power Five squad. Give me the other one.
I fell right into this trap. I'm looking at the percentage of bets. Percentage of bets. Colorado State, 82%.
the money.
Percentage of the money. Texas. University of Texas, 66% of the
Yep.
money.
But that is a high number, but you forget college football. Sometimes it can be
But the
That's a high
time, the clock.
the clock,
The clock.
but it can get away from you quick, and you're like, damn, 30 wasn't enough. And it feels like it should have
Could
been.
be a backdoor cover, too.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's not what I'm going to touch. I think the sneaky most interesting game on the schedule, aside from, I think Miami, Florida is in this discussion. Obviously, LSU, USC is. But before that, Notre Dame at Texas A&M.
Yeah, did I miss that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
What time is that? A night game?
Yeah, 7:30.
Oh, that's how I missed it, because going in time of the
What a
time of
primetime game to start the season right there, huh?
What's the
At
what are the
Texas
lines in
A&M,
there?
it's Texas A&M -3. So,
Game day's there.
Mm-hmm. Riley Leonard,
Yeah, against Mike Elko.
who coached him.
Knows the defense.
And I do think that it feels like Texas A&M has been kind of living under the cloud of Jimbo Fisher, and it kind of just got squirrely, and they tried the NIL thing, and it didn't work, but they still have good players.
And knowing my guy Tommy Moffitt that's there and how he
Maybe
probably
a little more
whipped
physical.
them into shape this
Yep.
summer, yeah, I think they're coming with a different mindset.
And,
Notre Dame better watch out. This is a tough one for them.
and Notre Dame has 3 starters that are out on the offensive line, and
Yeah.
their left tackle is out for the season when he suffered an injury in camp.
Yeah.
That's the left tackle that's replacing their first round
Joe
left
Alt,
tackle.
yeah.
I think I like A&M. Money line or the points?
I think you could get away with not going money line
I mean,
by half a point.
yeah. Make it 2.
But I think Texas A&M, if that's what happens and they win with College game day there and it's a night game, I think a lot of people will start turning and looking at A&M and be like, okay, because I think that's a game on LSU's schedule that you want to be able to put a W in the column, but that's just you're going off of Texas A&M of old, where it was even last year.
Well, that's gonna be a
Well,
dog
I think it's gonna be.
yeah.
I think it's gonna be more so because of the opponent, right? Like people are still really high on Notre Dame. So if Notre Dame comes in there and loses at Kyle Field and A&M's able to get it done, you start remembering, okay, well there still is really good players there at A&M, and obviously they changed some stuff. So yeah, like I think Notre Dame being there, being the team that's the opponent in this game would have a lot to do with where people started to see Texas A&M moving forward if they were able to get this win.
Yeah, Connor Wegman returns, and then Riley Leonard. Notre Dame goes to the portal for the second straight year to get a quarterback. You saw Sam Hartman not really do, I guess, what they expected. Then he just got waived in the NFL. But Riley Leonard in a first game away, yeah, I'll take A&M. I don't want to see him win, but I think they will.
I like A&M too. Boston
Close, though.
College, Florida State's also another good one to watch.
Well, yeah, I feel like a
This
lot
is
of people
the
are going to
Monday
hop
game,
on.
right?
Yeah.
16.5. That's the line.
Can you imagine the DJU noise if they lose this game too?
And I don't know if they'll lose, but 16.5. That's a big cover.
Yeah.
After you saw a Florida State team.
Especially after what I just saw them do, that's.
Against a defense that was worse than LSU's last year.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like just thinking of it, like Georgia Tech was a bad defense last year too, I believe. But going game
Georgia Tech.
one, yeah.
No, Georgia Tech was awful, worse than LSU's defense.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So like going game one, it doesn't matter if it's a good team, bad team. But if I see you only put up 21,
Right.
it's hard for me to believe you'll cover 16.5 next week.
100%.
And I don't really care who you're playing.
Yeah, against a team that last year was super scrappy.
Yeah.
You know?
Boston College was 7-6 last year.
Right, but played pretty was in a bunch of games.
Yeah.
People love Boston College in this.
Oh well, yeah. I think it
72% of the bets and 66% of the money.
because you've only
Boston
seen one.
College.
You've seen one team play,
Yeah.
and so it's the what do you remember me last for?
Right.
So that's why I think
That's a
it's-
big number. I wonder what it opened at too. It must have opened
I'll
pretty
tell you.
large.
Let's see. Opened at 21 and a
Or
half.
if you got it there,
Wow.
that you probably you're
Wow.
rolling like a pig.
Wow.
You're like a pig in
Pig
shit
shit.
right now. That's
Opened
a big,
at
I would, yeah.
Wow.
I bet
Opened
that
at
thing-
21 and a half.
I bet Saturday at around 3:30 that thing dropped to 16.5. Like, hold on, who they playing next? Like, oh shit!
5.5 points
Wow.
right there. Like, whoa.
I mean, isn't this fun now? We hadn't talked betting in a minute. I'm back in the game.
And it is a DJU question.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you can fix that quickly when it was like you look like you're scared to play football. You don't know what you're really looking at.
Well, look. Here's the deal. Last year, you had 2 wide receivers that when you got in trouble, if you needed to, you throw the ball up there, and they're probably going to go make a play.
And
You had a
Jordan,
And they had a
6'7" wide
well,
receiver.
And they had a much
your quarterback was good.
Right.
much more mobile quarterback too
100%.
that could move around. Yeah.
100%, right? And but you had outlets like, hey, if I just needed to stow it up high enough, someone at least I know the guys are going to go up there. They don't really have that right now. Man, this is good. This is fun stuff. You want to get to the Ask Mikey and Mitch questions?
Everybody's gambling with us.
Perfect. That's what we want. We need people to gamble with us.
I know.
I
Well,
need as much help as I can get.
yeah, we just thank for the advice.
Yeah, as much help as I can get.
Sports Geek tells me that North Dakota State, their quarterback is now Miami. No, wait, where was it? He is now USC's linebackers coach. So
Who?
they said North Dakota State's coach.
The linebackers coach.
He went to USC.
Why?
I don't know. But I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm sure you can find that out. All right, let's get. You have any questions? Ask Mikey.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get a little Ask Mikey and Mitch rolling. Thank you for the questions. As always, Fonz got the ball rolling. Then we put a call to action of, you are letting this man dominate the segment. And I appreciate you, Fonz, but come on. I know you got some questions. Let's get the ball rolling.
Fonz hadn't said anything yet.
Hey,
No, I'm saying no. Fonz, he was the only one saying anything. I was
Fonz
like,
got
don't
a
let,
six-shooter over there.
don't let
Yeah,
Fonz
yeah.
dominate the segment.
He's
Y'all get some
rolling that thing,
questions.
man.
They're intimidated by the man. Ask Mikey and Mitch. For the LSU versus USC game, would y'all be happy if you got 3 to 4 yards a run?
Yes.
3 to 4 yards a run. Nah, give me 5. Give me 5.
I'd be happy with early on. I mean, you talking about the whole game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
average
if
early
you look
game.
up and the game's over and you
Yeah,
average
give me-
3.5
give me
yards to
5.
carry.
Give me 5.
Yeah, I don't know if I love that actually. I
Give me
need
5.
between. I need between 4 and 5. I didn't necessarily be full 5. I need between 4 and 5.
Give me 5. College football, give me 5. Pro football, give me 4.
Give me Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Ask Mikey and Mitch. Do you think USC is trying to find bullshit poster board material
Yes.
to try and hype their players up?
Yes.
I don't know how much USC is trying, but yeah, their players are obviously reaching and looking around
Or that
and
one
hoping to
specific
find it and
player.
grabbing. The one specific player. Yeah, I do think so. I would imagine for the most part, unless you get something that's so obvious, the coaching staff aren't really trying to push that kind of stuff. But seemingly the players are right now. Yeah.
Ask Mikey and Mitch. Are you taking the ball in the opening kickoff or deferring to the second half?
Let me tell you what I love to do. I would love for them to defer the second half and say, "Hey, go out and get it."
I'm all about. Really doesn't matter what kind of team we got either. I get it. Sometimes like you just feel like I got to take the fight to you, whatever the situation is. But I love the strategic move,
Right.
Trying to get to flip the clock real quick. So I want to score at the end of the half, and I want ball first.
Yep.
Like I want to be able to play that kind of game. So for me, if it were up to me, I'm almost 99.9% of the time I'm always kicking.
And
deferring
Brian
the second
Kelly's
half.
going opposite. Last year, Brian Kelly would take the ball.
Not the whole year though, right? He started doing that like later in the year, right? Or
I thought he did it for most of the year last year, right?
I don't remember.
I don't know if did they take the ball against Florida State last year? Is that what you're thinking?
I think they did it for multiple games. I could be wrong. I could be just
mean-
making that up. But I would love for us to defer, let defense go out there and say, "Hey, y'all go and set the tone for the game." Like bring off if defense goes out there and comes out flying and has a great first possession of the game, the energy of the game is going to be wild.
I think you have to almost as a statement to your defense. Like we
I
worked
believe
on
in you.
this. Yeah, I believe in you. And I know it's a small thing, but Jared's right. Like the strategy is you want the ball last. You want to be able to try to do the Bill Belichick score at the end of the first half, get the ball back, score again, make it a 2-possession game, but essentially in
2 for 1, just like
Two
the
for
basketball.
In games like this, right, pretty evenly matched. You don't really know. The last 2 minutes of the half and the last 2 minutes of the game are the biggest things.
But with that same thing said, you also don't. I feel like you have a little bit more confidence in your offense, and if you put your defense out there and it goes 5 plays right down the field, you give them a touchdown, like, oh, fuck. Now we're.
Yeah, but then you also know and then you say, well, then you kind of know what the offense needs to do, but then that could put pressure on the offense.
That's what I'm saying. Or you could dictate the game through the offense.
But look, I think
I would imagine just by looking at some of the film and what we got and some of the cuts of practice and of camp this year, if you're able to set the right tone and the right attitude and the right mindset throughout the team, you kick that thing. Let's go play defense.
no
first.
doubt.
Yeah.
And look, I think Nuss and them showed you in the bowl game. We're good. Even if we get down a little bit, we're good. We're gonna keep playing our game. We're gonna go and do what we need to do.
You almost lost to Tanner Mordecai
Yeah, but
in a fucking dogfight.
Great
Dueling.
offense, but it wasn't offense.
No, that's fine. But you were down 14-0 before you even could blink. That's when Malik Neighbors still playing. That was
He was
crazy.
playing, but he wasn't playing.
Got the
He
ball in the
played-
first 3 plays.
Yeah, but that
He was
that-
playing,
yeah.
but he wasn't playing.
The
That's
first-
my point.
after you
He
caught
was
the-
playing for a stat number.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing for a W.
They were
After he
trying to
caught
hurt
that
him.
first little dump pass and he went around the side, I was like, oh, they're gonna get him his numbers and get him out.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you were like, I'm like he was playing, but he wasn't playing. Like,
Yeah.
BT
All right.
was playing though. He's like, I'm gonna get drafted.
yeah.
And Kyron Lacey was playing.
Yep.
Kyron Lacey had a good game. Next.
Interesting. Good
And
question.
so did Mason Taylor.
That was his best game of the year.
Yep.
Die on that hill.
Ask
I
him
got
at home.
to. I mean, I have to.
But yeah, you planted
I have
that
to.
flag.
Him and Kyle Parker, I got to go.
Yeah. Oh, I do think that's interesting because of what we were talking about the LSU offense, and I do think that when you want to be able to run the ball, then be able to hit him over the head, maybe with a deep pass, I think that's Chris Hilton's role. And so if he's not able to go, which the practice report said he was able to progress and work out today, they
putting pads on tomorrow.
Yeah. So we'll see. Moving along slowly, but I think he wants to play and they want him to play.
Of course.
Listen, I mean, think about it. If you got a bone bruise, just to kind of give the how those things usually go. Like if you're active on Monday, strong chance you play that weekend from bone bruise.
Unless you re-aggravate it.
Yeah. So like I fully expect him to be out. Obviously they can't say it and won't say it because it doesn't help them to say it. But I fully expect him to be playing.
Next.
Ask him, with this being some kids' first games at LSU, I'd imagine playing. Do you remember what your level of nerves were for your first game at LSU? What your first game starting, I would imagine, or playing even, or being on the team.
Talking about for football for him or for
baseball for you and football and baseball for him.
Yeah, I mean my first game starting, it wasn't even a big game.
I'm sure you're still nervous.
Oh, I got there to the field at 12:30. I missed my last class because I was.
All I can think about.
Yeah, I want to go to the field early, get ready. It was like dripping sweat before the game at 2:00 in the afternoon against Harvard. Like I was nervous. It worked out, but I was nervous.
What if Benary would have suspended you for skipping class? Like, what are you doing here? Did you have class?
I got you.
I'll do whatever running you need me to do tomorrow.
And then I hit 2 homers. Okay, you can do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say nervous, dude. Like it was one of those things where you wanted more action, right? Like you got to that day and you wanted the action. So I wasn't so much like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? It's just like, all right, let me see this first pitch or let me just run. Let me get hit.
Yeah.
Like I need this action right now to kind of like really settle into this thing. So wasn't really a nervous thing, but it was anxious and like a good anxious where you just like, this is real. I'm here now. Like this is a thing.
Yeah, it's like prom. I just want to get there all day.
You mean prom or like after prom? You're terrible.
I think it was the after party.
You're terrible.
I hosted. Then I played baseball the next day.
I hit a homer.
Yeah, grand slam.
That wasn't freshman.
Only one of your.
Only one ever.
Yep. All right, next.
Number 1 team in 5A, cuz.
There you go. Menard.
From Landon Lewis, ask him over under on the sacks for and against LSU. Great question.
Great question.
For and against. I'll go with a game total of. That's a big number. 5 sacks.
We'll give LSU's
who's
defensive
got
sacks and how many they give up.
3 sacks for them, 2 sacks for LSU.
Wow.
Oof.
That don't mean shit.
Offensive line got manhandled.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna give up many. LSU's gonna give up many sacks, but I also don't think that LSU's gonna get many sacks. I'm gonna go.
I'm not. You're thinking about offensive line. I'm thinking about first game. Don't know. They haven't seen the defense. Maybe he's holding the ball a little too long. That's what I'm thinking about.
I do.
Maybe he's trying to prove I can pocket pass. Right
I'm gonna
now.
go.
That's
with,
what I'm thinking about.
You have to say something.
I know. I'm gonna go with 4, 2 and 2.
Cop out.
What?
Weak.
What?
Who gets them?
Okay, I don't know.
You think Harold Perkins gets a sack?
Yes.
Do you think Harold Perkins gets
Game
a
1,
sack?
no.
Not you? What did your number?
I think we're privy to it. We see a completely revamped Harold Perkins, and then that will become more of a thing as we go down the line.
Yeah, as they get more comfortable.
Yeah.
I do think that LSU might get 2 sacks on their side, and I think they're both going to come from defensive ends. I don't think it'll be like manufactured pressure, him bringing anybody off the edge, but I do think it'll be aggressive. But I think Kevin Peoples, I think Swinson gets one, and Walmack gets one.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Because Kevin Peoples
like
can't be understated. Like, I don't think it is important to be understated. How much they've talked about and what I've seen at practice, how much they've worked.
So how many they got yet?
1.
2 and 1, 3.
Cop out.
No, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
No, I do think that if they give up more than 2 and it starts to look like LSU can't block it up front, which would be surprising, I think that's a lot to do with DJ Chester playing center in his first real test, and a coach that knows that he can scheme up and confuse somebody that's supposed to be the point man.
I think to Jared's point, I don't think it's the offensive line. that's going to be giving up the sacks. I think that they're going to bring one extra, and it's either going to be the running backs either not picking him up, if maybe a Caleb Jackson. Not saying you can't do it, but maybe picking up a little late,
or maybe the protection not called correctly.
Yeah, or protection not called correctly, or they misdiagnose what's coming and they bring in corner pressure, someone from the outside, and they don't see it and they don't know it, and then guy comes free. I don't think it'd be the offensive line.
I don't think when I say 3, I don't think it's literally just hey,
I don't think that number's that big.
No, well, I'm just saying even still I don't think it's hey they're just getting beat. I think it'll be that's probably following on this game. Well, there isn't the next game, but usually the games are scheduled at about 3 hours. It's going to be about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess he's more asking you're going to look up and be like, oh shit, it's already.
This isn't baseball, dude. There's still 15 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
It's still a 60-minute game when it comes to the time.
Yeah, and look,
it's
and
not going to be that much different.
Yeah, and both teams are going to want to throw the football, right?
You just don't.
Incomplete passes the ball.
My point is you don't it was always like a 3.5 hour type situation. But the way that the clock used to be is where the game has gone to, where it's so pass heavy and there's so much RPO and all that stuff. The game started to turn into 4 hour games, or 4.5 hour games. I don't think that's. You're getting back down to what they're supposed to be, which is around a 3 hour game.
Well, and I think those longer games, you would lose some of the rhythm in the game too, because it was too easy to stop the clock. It was too easy to kind of get. And they had penalties. College, you're gonna have more penalties, right, than you are gonna have in the NFL. So it got a little clunky sometimes, and the rhythm kind of lost it. I think that you're gonna see it be run better. I'm anxious to see the 2 minute, how these teams handle the 2 minute,
and the reason why I said I think it'll be around the same. When you look at college game day on Saturday, there's still the same time window in between games. The only thing that's changed over the last few years is there's been so many more plays run, there's been so many more passes thrown, there's been so many more time stoppages. That is what's gotten the games to be a little bit longer than what they've been in the past. But we didn't bring down the number of minutes in a quarter. It's still the same thing. So all that time stoppages and all that stuff has kind of changed that part of it, the high side. It's still going to be around a 3 hour game.
Agreed.
Skimming him, Lance James. Who's someone you expect to play well this year that people might not expect?
Die on the hill, baby. Kyle Parker.
Someone might not expect. Ooh. Might not expect, man. I'm gonna go with Jordan Gilbert here, just because I think he's the name that's kind of gotten lost a little bit in this kind of preseason camp situation. Yeah, and the kid's a good player. He's a Baton Rouge native kid. I think this is coming here for this kind of situation, being healthy after pretty much missing all of last year. I think he's going to be a big addition to the back end of that defense, and I think he's going to play really well.
And what do we talk about? I like when coaches aren't bringing up these guys specifically, right? Oh, this guy's been having great camp. Kyle Parker hadn't really been talked about until recently. Jordan Gilbert really hadn't been talked about at all, which to me, I like that because that means he's going about his business. He's doing what they expect him to do.
And he's staying healthy.
And he hasn't shocked anybody in saying, oh, he's doing something that we didn't expect. I think they expect him to be good. He's obviously starting, and he's been good. I like that.
Major Burns. I think him in a new position, new role, put him closer to the line of scrimmage and allowing him to be vocal. He's obviously been a leader on the team.
Play his strength, too.
And it plays to his strength. I think he'll be a good player for the defense that was much maligned last year. Ask Mikey and Mitch. I guess kind of a little bit different, but same flavor. Who are y'all's breakthrough players for football on offense and defense?
Okay, well.
I mean, I just basically gave you the defense.
He gave him the defense. Yeah. I gave him my offense. So Jordan, I like Kyle Parker on offense. He likes Jordan Gilbert on defense. I think that's a good pick. I'm not gonna pick the same one he's got.
I think breakthrough. I guess that
I like Relaford.
Sure.
To break through. I mean, he's a freshman. You're not gonna say, hey, this guy's gonna be an first team All-American as a freshman, but I breakthrough as in hey, he's kind of came on the scene. I think I like him.
I'm giving you a big name. It's been a usual suspect. It's been a name I've brought up a lot on here, and a name that's kind of floated a lot through camp. But I think you should just get your popcorn and get ready. Caleb Jackson, breakthrough.
Yeah.
I'll go Jacoby and Guillory on defense.
I like that one too.
I think he's had a great camp, and he's in his position where I think he knows that it's his money year, and he has to perform if he wants to continue playing football. And on offense, C.J. Daniels.
Okay.
What do you want? Okay, ask him. Would you be okay with LSU?
For me?
I didn't put this one in there. Ask Eminem, would you be okay with LSU first play doing a play action deep ball?
Would I be okay with it? I mean, yeah, if they hit it, but I'd rather them not.
There's a second
There's no
part
reason
of this
to.
question that is ridiculous.
I mean, look, you got to understand, like, it is first game of the season. You got a team you never have really played, matchups you never really had, different head coach, different DC. For them to script a first play deep ball,
you gotta know something.
as like, yeah, you have to know something. And what is there to know in the situation?
Now,
I'm not saying you can't throw it as you go through a progression, because that's part of route trees and putting together schemes. But if that's the first read on the first play of the game, that is such a small chance in this situation that I don't expect it at all.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to go with, I would like to not see it. I hope it's not part of it.
Well,
Talking about rhythm, though, like that's not
Yeah,
that's
that's not what
not
you
a
want.
rhythm play.
Yeah.
Unless it's, hey, we're gonna play action. There is a deep route that is part of your
That's what I said.
progression,
If
but
it's
like
later
understand
in the
that,
progression,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
exactly. If we're sticking in our stomach, pulling it out, and our first read is the deep ball, I'm not gonna be very happy with the game plan. I'm just
Right.
gonna be honest with you.
And clearly they saw something last year with the first play to Trey Bradford. We're like, this is schemed up, and they come out and this look like we have a play designed to be able to get Trey Bradford the ball. They just ran out of time. I mean, he ran out of juice. Didn't score. But that was first play of the game. They got 65 yards and tried to score like a one-play touchdown.
For who?
Trey Bradford last year.
Remember
Against
the
who?
Florida State.
Florida State.
Yeah, so you said they knew something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
You played him last year. You had
Right, that's what I'm
some
saying. Like, that's
familiarity.
when you see something like
That's
that
what
where
I
it's
mean,
like,
exactly.
this is...
That's what I'm saying. Like, that is completely different situation than what's going on this year.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's when you do it. And also he said, play action deep ball, but you have Nuss purposely overthrow it to show that we can throw it deep.
So we just waste the play.
He just waits to play.
That's like throwing an 0-2 fastball in the other batter's
Yeah,
box.
nobody does that anymore.
Saying, "Oh yeah, let me waste the pitch." No, we're not wasting.
That's the showcase. That's the showcase guy in the outfield throwing the ball 17 rows in the stands to show off his arm. I ain't having it.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Fonz. Ask Eminem, are you able to stay in one spot watching the game? Or are you a mover? Stand, sit, pace?
For what?
When you watch a football game. Obviously not in the stadium.
I like to sit. I don't really pace. Into the game, I'll stand up. If it's like tight, I'll stand up, but I'm not like pacing.
Coach, I'm on the couch, Coach.
Yeah.
I'm at the
Yeah.
crib watching the game on the couch.
98% of the time, I'm on the couch watching the game. Like
Coach. I don't give a shit if it's a close game. And the only
You know,
time I'm
maybe
getting up
from
is
here
to
to
get some
here.
food or to take a piss. That's pretty much it.
I
Yeah.
will if it's a big game and if like you're like watch party with the boys.
No, watch party is different.
Yeah.
Nobody's really,
That's
Yeah,
when
now
you
if it's
start-
like the end of the game, last plays, couple plays, and drive, and like it's not like I may stand up, but I'm not pacing, can't see. No.
If you are standing at home and it's just you, or just you and your girlfriend, or just you and
Oh
your
no,
wife,
no, 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 no.
you are the people that we love.
Yeah, no.
Because you are who builds the backbone of fandom. Like that is the legit meaning
Yeah,
of fandom.
I'm
right there.
standing if there's people around me. If I'm there with a group.
Fonz again. Ask Eminem, could y'all do the carnivore diet? All meat, very little.
I actually have thought about. I've been thinking about trying to do it. I could definitely do it.
I probably could do it. Yeah, I probably. I don't know if I would want to, but I probably could. do
Yeah,
it.
I could definitely.
If there's a legit kind of diet that I would think I could probably. Yeah, I probably could do it.
I mean, I basically do that. I don't eat vegetables.
or carbs.
That's
the
thing.
hard part to
That's
cut
the hard
out.
part.
Right,
Cutting out
that's the hard
carbs
part.
is.
Vegetables, I don't even eat. I eat
Boy
one
likes some rice
vegetable.
over here. That's carbs.
Yeah.
Rice,
Cut out.
pasta,
Man.
bread.
Well, it just feels like it feels like an incomplete meal whenever you sit down and just have meat on the plate. Like I'd like a little something else to put my fork in.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
feel like I could do it.
I could do it.
I've done
You
it.
just got to tell me I got
I've done it for like
Cutting
2
out
months.
rice would be tough.
Carnivore?
Mm-hmm.
Did it work?
I don't know. Probably was drinking too much.
So that was probably like for 6 days.
No,
So what?
I legit did it. I was when I was at Northwestern State because they gave us meals or whatever. Like you could go to the cafeteria and they would just have like turkey patties. I was like, I'll just eat 4 of these for lunch, and I'll take 4 more for home.
Nice. Nice.
That's where his take-in started going.
A man after your own heart. Ask Eminem. Do you think Mason Taylor finally takes that leap this year on offense and plays a big role?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but no. Like, I don't think it's going to show super crazy in the numbers. And I really only think it's because you have guys like Pimpton and you have guys like Trey Desmond.
Here's a
That's the only reason why.
Here's a follow-up question on that. Do we think Mason Taylor's an NFL tight end?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%, without a doubt. And honestly, you say that, I think when he gets to the NFL,
He'll be better.
His actual stat numbers will be better.
Yeah.
There are a lot of tight ends are like that anyway, but I think that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just think that room is when it comes in terms of pass catching, is so much more talented than it's been since he stepped on campus.
Right.
And I think they're going to utilize a lot of those guys anyway. Talking to people in the building, like they got 3 or 4 first rounders in the room.
Yeah.
And guys that are ready to play now. So I find it hard to see his numbers jump, but those guys don't get any kind of, they all know it. So yeah, that's kind of what I see.
And I think the other side of it is because we've made a lot of it being Jane Daniels obviously not being able to get the rushing yards on the ground when Nussmeier isn't going to do the same thing, and it feels like Mason Taylor's that guy. I think the backs out the backfield are going to play a huge role too.
Agreed.
So that'll eat into a little bit of his numbers, but I think he's going to be a huge factor.
Give me your total of receiving yards for him, like realistically. We joke about mine. 1,000 obviously is unrealistic. 700 is probably still, but I think that's I'm gonna stick at the 700 that he could potentially get to. What do you say?
I think he's scratching 500.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say 450.
That'd be a good
500.
year.
Like 475 plus.
Yeah, that'd be a good year.
Yep. Ask Eminem. I know we had the deep ball question. It's a different question. What do you think the first play from scrimmage will be for LSU? Run or pass?
RPO?
Hell no.
Just
He's
a
gonna
run.
give it to him. Yeah, he's gonna give it to him.
I like that too. I can see it being an RPO, kind of a similar to what they did with against in the bowl game against Wisconsin, right? Yeah. The little like RPO, dump it off to the receiver underneath, coming easy. I can see them throwing it something like an easy pass to kind of get Nuss going.
I think there's a good chance they have been using a lot of motion to where they're kind of like whether it be out of like wide receiver sets, stuff like that. But I think you're going to see that RPO probably to Mason Taylor. That was their bread and butter.
That's what you think's the first play is gonna be?
Uh-huh.
Hell no. We're gonna have some motion. We're gonna have some. I want to see how you react to the motion. I'm giving the ball away.
You know what?
And we're gonna run off of that. That's what's
happening.
happening.
You know what Lloyd wants to see first? We saw a play last year that happened first play of the game that you didn't see the rest of the year with the same person. Lloyd's gonna see Aaron Anderson going in motion, get the handoff in the jet sweep in motion, 8 yards in the sidelines, get out of bounds, and then you may not see him again for another
That would be elite.
2 quarters.
It's like when Les Miles put Dante Jackson.
If he
on
sees
offense.
that, he's gonna look at us and he's gonna be like, "Oh, you said he's not gonna play
12
10 to
12
15
yeah.
We're 14 plays away from 15.
Ryan Perrilloux was never an all-time guy.
He was. Should have been. Heisman winner. Said he's going to win 3.
He probably could have.
Fonz, if it's a close game, I'm pacing and sweating. I also have to find the right volume on the TV or the right shirt. I'm sick in the head.
I love that. That seems like you.
Nice, and I love that. That's good. That's good.
Landon Lewis, I'm standing and pacing by myself, holding an iPad, screaming so loud the neighbors complain. Nearest neighbors.
iPad?
Yeah, that's a bizarre move.
Yeah, what's that? What's going on an iPad? What we got on there?
Landon Lewis broke a door with his forehead during COVID.
Wow.
Former military guy. He's got that extra gear.
He definitely
Henry
has
Connor.
He definitely has a Tiger Droppings account. 100%.
No doubt. Lloyd, do you
What?
have a Tiger Droppings account?
No.
No.
But I lurk. Oh, in college for sure.
If you were typing on there?
No, not really, but I felt like I needed it because the cursing would bother me, like when it said frick instead of fuck. But if you made an account, then you could see, like, it was just easier to read.
Wait,
Like-
what?
If you don't have an account, like, they edit out the cussing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I never had an account. I never even really read it, so
Oh, a big time lurker.
yeah.
Sometimes they got some.
Found out on the Connor Stallings documentary that reporters actually go on there.
Oh, Brohio.
What a
Dork.
oh my god, dude!
He really thought he should be in that documentary.
What a guy!
I don't even know what he did.
He was a guy. He was
Oh,
their
he was-
Tiger Droppings,
Yeah, he was the one that cracked the code on the code being cracked.
and he wore a ski mask and glasses.
And said his family gets death threats from his account. Like, those people ain't gonna pull up on you, dude.
Wow. It's all right. Good for Brohio. We got any more? We're done.
That's it.
We appreciate the Ask Mikey and Mitch as always. That was nice. They're gonna get better and better as the year goes on
Oh, they're
because
gonna get controversial.
I love that. Can't wait. Can't wait to have it. Ask Mikey and Mitch. Brought to you by our new sponsor, Mead Heavy Civil. Mead Heavy Civil specializes in land development and infrastructure projects across public works, residential, industrial, and commercial industries. From coastal restoration and large-scale excavations to solar farms and oil and gas pipelines, Mead is the powerhouse moving Louisiana forward with complete start-to-finish construction expertise. Visit meadheavycivil.com or give Kiefer Sanders a call at 985-518-6774. Good people, friend of mine, do great work. All around Louisiana, Tampa, they travel, Florida, Texas, everywhere. So, Ask Mikey Mitch brought to you by our friends at Mead Heavy Civil. We're gonna get it. Not saying I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying, we're new sponsor.
New sponsor alert.
Yeah, new sponsor alert. All right. We you want to get to the seggies, Lloyd? You got something?
I'm just reading the chat. Seeing if we had any more, anything else. But yes, let's get to the segments. Oh, mistake of the day.
Wait, before we get to the segments, you talked about Mason Taylor 500 yards. You said just under 500. Do y'all know what Kyron Lacey, what his numbers were last year as the number 3 guy?
700.
No, like 450.
30 catches for 558 and 7 touchdowns. Now,
7 touchdowns is surprising.
he probably could have had about another 150. Had a couple of those drops. I mean, remember there's one game. Maybe
So
it was
the
Florida State.
700, I said.
It would have been. Florida State, he dropped. Was it Florida State that he dropped it to? No, Alabama. What game was it that he dropped those 2 touchdowns? Alabama.
I don't know if it's 2. I know he dropped 1 for sure.
It was 2 balls. Maybe it wasn't 2, but it was 2 balls that he definitely should have caught. Anyway,
It dropped to 3rd down.
yeah. 558. I thought that was interesting. 7 touchdowns. 7
Yeah,
touchdowns.
because it's pretty much been written that he's the one, so you're expecting obviously more
1,000
than
yards?
that. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the.
You hope him and CJ. If it all goes the way it works, you'd hope both of them have 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah.
That would mean the offense is really is cruising.
Say that's if you would hope
Yeah.
that's actually
You're cruising. Offense
that's
is
the top
cruising.
3 offense
Yeah.
in the country, coach.
Yeah. Offense be cruising.
Yeah, that only
you
had.
have that. You've had
That's
that
a
the
lofty
last-
hope right there.
You've had that the last what? Just last year you really had it. You didn't have it the year before.
Yeah, but
No,
that's
the-
not a year by year thing.
Yeah, no.
The year Mettenberger, Odell.
And you don't have to go back that
Jarvis.
far. You go back to 19.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like that was the last time it happened before 19. It was like a huge deal. 'Cause I think,
it is a
yeah.
huge deal. Across the country, that's a huge deal. Not
Yeah.
just an LSU uniform.
Mistake of the day.
Yep.
Brought to you by Joe's Eat Place. This is, you hate to see when somebody gets repoed, and sometimes it goes one way and people aren't really happy and they want their car back, and then this is the case of, sometimes it'll shock you too. You never know who's going to roll up on you. Just wait for it.
Oh boy.
Great stick
Oh,
work. No, he's supposed to do this. He's
I know.
repo, yeah.
I know.
He's got the bulletproof vest on just in case.
He's got to be ready.
I think he's getting like 100 chances, but oh, what?
Yo, what's going on?
Oh.
Yeah, he did, bro. I got this customized. No, man, we gonna have to worry
I
about
come in
this.
the wheelchair back up.
Man, we gonna have to.
That's his car. He got it customized.
Oh. He's running away from him. Oh my God. Why would this guy think that getting out of his
Damn.
wheelchair was the move?
I don't know, but he's ready to
I don't
scrap.
Hey, I love the confidence though.
What did Lloyd just have me watching just now?
It blew my mind. I wasn't ready. I thought it was gonna be the guy that got out the house. That's usually how it goes. Where
Me
it's
too,
like,
was in
no,
the
man,
wheelchair
you
came
take-
thinking like, what's going on? I didn't know he was going to get out and try to fight.
Yeah, me either.
Boy, that was listen. The
That's
confidence,
a Lloyd mistake of the day.
no
for you.
doubt.
I've
The
seen
confidence
it.
you got doing that though, jumping out, putting yourself at a
He-
serious disadvantage.
Sometimes you got to pop out and show.
Low
Serious
man wins, dude.
disadvantage. Wow,
Quick feet.
wow, that's,
That's
crazy. Mistake of the day.
There you go.
What's the mistake of that? Getting out the wheelchair, having your car repoed.
Having your car repo.
Okay.
It's unfortunate for everybody.
All right. All right. Curtain call brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners. Me. I think it's a community, unless you got one, Lloyd. You have one specifically for you? I think the show curtain call is to, I wish we could show it, but we're going to get in trouble if we show
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The show curtain call is to our boy DC3, doing it in DC. His first career home run, had his first career base hit yesterday. double off the wall. Followed that up with his first career home run. If you look at the video, very, very prototypical
Cool.
DC3 homer. Inside, hands real tight to the body, nice finish into the bullpen off of Carlos Rodon, who's
Pretty good lefty.
pretty good lefty. And he throws hard.
He crushed
Fastball
that.
hard coming across. He got his hands high. Great swing. Great swing.
Nice 1-0 heater.
Yeah.
Take it.
And he's been taking some big, like, it felt like he was obviously in good counts.
Yeah.
Like when we were watching him take his first couple of bats when he got in that 3-1 count, like he wasn't looking to hit a single. Like these are some strong swings, and this was another one where it's like, I'm giving it everything I got.
Yeah, no doubt. He
I was crushed.
Doing what he does,
Shout
man.
out. Yeah, man. I'm pumped. He's
Most professional hitter I've ever seen in college. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
no doubt. And he's been very consistent all year. It feels like he's been playing his best baseball towards the end of the year, and he's doing it now.
Do you think this will make it on SportsCenter? Finally.
I mean, I hope so.
This better make it on Sports
I
Center.
mean, I would hope so.
Because they
If it
didn't show
doesn't,
anything.
if it
about
doesn't,
him.
baseball needs
I
to
would
have
hope
a
so.
really come to Jesus meeting with themselves and say, how do we make this better?
Yeah.
Trending.
How do we promote our players a little better than this?
Yeah.
So
All right, we appreciate you. We appreciate the love and support. We appreciate you tuning in. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like watching us, you like listening to us, we're anywhere you get your pods. We'll be back live in studio. Should we make it live tomorrow? Because we're going to record it tomorrow. I'm going to give you all a heads up. I'm going to be in the airplane going to Las Vegas on Friday for the game. I don't think anybody can fault me for that. The boys, we want to have a show going into the weekend. So I think we're going to have one tomorrow. We'll post the time. Just make it live. Last time we did it live on accident, it ended up working out.
Yeah.
So let's just do a live show tomorrow. I'm putting you on the spot. Now you got to be here at 1:15.
Okay, perfect.
Live show, 1:15 tomorrow. Going to be an hour-ish of a show. Looking forward to talking all things betting. We're going to have all of our bets. Everybody come in with some bets that they're going to put in tomorrow. And I think this is a new thing we should have for the show for the year. We should have a mic'd up parlay. Everybody pick a leg of the parlay.
Oh,
what
we
they
won't
like.
fight about this at all.
No, everybody. No, it doesn't, you don't have to put a ton of money on it, but we should have a show parlay. And if you don't want to bet it, you don't have to bet it, but we should all come up with one. And I want everybody, if you want it, join us. And you want to sweat it out with us, join the parlay with us. If not, you can laugh at us or be jealous that we made some money off of it.
Yeah, if you want, you really get involved, you can Venmo us. We'll put your money in the account, in the bet, and then we'll pay you out.
Wow, you can do all that?
Sure. I mean, it's just
why wouldn't they just put it in their own account?
if they don't have it. Like, if some people don't have a gambling account, they do like to bet, but they don't want to go through all the hoops and hassles. Sometimes
Yeah.
their spouse doesn't let them.
Yeah. So I think that we should start doing that. I think that'd be good. Just one a weekend, and you add each of us pick a leg, and
If you want to ride,
we should each of us pick a leg and let the chat pick a leg.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of people in the chat. How are we gonna decipher that?
Pick one lucky winner.
Okay.
One that we like the most.
Has to at least be 3 legs in this parlay.
Yeah.
At least.
At least 3.
At least
maybe
us
a
3.
fourth from the chat.
No, you can go if you want more, whatever. But
Yeah.
at least 3.
Yeah. I like that. Right? I think that'd be
That's a
makes it
great
fun.
idea.
All right. Perfect. All right. Tune in live tomorrow at 1:15. We will be here talking all things sports, all things LSU. God, I'm getting so jacked up for the weekend. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
for tomorrow.
I'm not that jacked up for tomorrow.
There's at least one game.
Colorado.
Hey, there's real games. There's real
Yeah,
ball.
there's a
Yeah,
real
Colorado
football.
is the one I'm gonna watch.
Real ball
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't.
And I got a
handle
fantasy
this
draft
Sunday.
tomorrow night, too, during the game.
Oh.
What?
All right.
All right.
It's here.
Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Peace.